everyone. My name is Sarah Mosier, and this is my presentation on the mandated reporter law in Michigan. All right, so what is a mandated reporter? Under the Child Protection Law, a mandated reporter is someone who is required by law to report crimes associated with a child or an adult who they suspect is at risk of being abused or neglected. Now they must report to Child Protective Services, or if it's in the case of with an adult, the Adult Protective Services. So who is a mandated reporter? They include teachers and the school staff, healthcare workers, such as doctors, nurses, therapists, social workers, child care providers, law enforcement, counselors, psychologists, members of the clergy, and many other examples. So first we're going to go with recognizing child abuse. And the first one we're going to go over is the physical abuse. So physical abuse is any intentional act that causes physical harm or injury to a child, such as hitting, beating, shaking, burning, or biting. Some other examples include slapping, punching, kicking, or choking a child or an adult, burns from cigarettes or other hot objects, or violent shaking. And a lot of us kind of know the shaking in babies, known as shaken baby syndrome. Some red flags, some things that you need to look out for in case of physical child abuse are unexplained bruises, fractures, or burns. Unusual injuries, such as maybe you'll see a handprint or like a mark from a belt, or multiple injuries, so more than one injury at a time. Flinching at any sudden movement that someone may present with them, and the fear of going home. A lot of kids who are being abused at home may have the fear of going home because they fear of going home to their parents or whoever's at home abusing them. Our next case is emotional abuse. Emotional abuse is behavior by an adult or caregiver that harms a child's emotional well-being or their sense of their self-worth. So examples of these are verbal attacks, such as yelling or screaming or using profanity, rejection or ignoring the child. So ignoring anything your child may come home with from school. Maybe they got an award or something or recognized for something that they have done and the parents or caregiver just completely ignore them, not acknowledging the fact that their child did something good in school. Threats or intimidation, humiliation or isolation, or excluding the kids from any sort of activities that you may do as parents. Some things to look out for this are if the children are withdrawn from activities or their peers. So if they don't participate in any classroom activities or, at gym class when the kids are all doing their workouts and stuff, and maybe they're sitting off in the corner because they don't want to participate. It comes with low self-esteem, or there may be extreme behaviors such as aggression or hostility that they may lash out on the people around them. And another thing is just social and emotional development. Okay, next one is sexual abuse. So sexual abuse is forced sexual activity involving a child by an adult. So some examples of this are sexual contact such as touching, fondling, or penetration, forcing a child to watch sexual acts or pornography, exploitation for prostitution or child porn, sexual grooming, which they could do this by building trust or bribing the child to maybe get them to trust them more so that they are able to abuse them later, or exposing a child to inappropriate materials such as sex toys. Some things to look out for here: the child may have difficulty walking or sitting. You notice any bruising or bleeding in genital areas. If the child knows a lot about sexual acts at an age that may seem inappropriate, or the avoidance of certain adults or certain places. And then we have recognizing neglect. So neglect is the failure of an adult or caregiver to provide a basic needs that a child's need. So examples of this, there's physical neglect, which means that their parents or caregivers are not providing the food or clothing or proper shelter in that case. Medical neglect, so they don't provide anything to help with their medical care or dental care. Emotional neglect, ignoring their needs of love and support and guidance that is so essential to every child's life. Or educational neglect, where they just simply don't enroll the child in school. Some red flags to look out from here: poor hygiene and consistent dirty appearances. So it looks like, they haven't showered in quite some time. They got a lot of dirt on them from just not showering, being out all day. Inappropriate clothing for weather. So, maybe their parents don't buy them proper, coats for the winter, or boots. They come to school in the same pair of raggedy tennis shoes and a t-shirt every day. And then again, unattended dental or medical needs, consistently being late for school or even just not showing up for school, or unsafe living conditions. So, if you make a house visit because you're just not sure and you see that there's just no child should be living in that sort of condition. And then frequent hunger. So a sign to see from this is if the children are stealing food from their peers or from the cafeteria, or even if you notice them, outside of school and you're in the grocery store and you notice that this child is, sneaking food, trying to steal it because they don't get food at home. Okay, so what to do if teachers suspect child abuse or neglect? Well, you need to report it immediately. We cannot stress this enough. So in a school setting, you would report immediately to your supervisor, but it just doesn't stop there. You need to report it to Child Protective Services as well. We can't stress this enough how important it is to report to the upper authorities for these cases. Within 24 hours, you need to orally report it, and then within 72 hours, you need to go have a written report. And I've provided a link that can take you to the Michigan online reporting system. You need to make a clear report, so the child's name, the nature of the suspected incident, and any observations that you have made with the injuries and or behavior. And then I also provided the phone number for the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Okay, so legal protections and consequences. So the first thing is good faith immunity, meaning that you truly believe that the abuse is happening, so you report it right away. You are protected from civil and your criminal liability. You cannot be sued or prosecuted for reporting, even if your suspicion is incorrect. Your identity is kept confidential to protect yourself from any retaliation or harm that maybe, the abuser might do, in case. And then you don't have any requirements to prove your abuse. That is handled by the upper authorities. Consequences is civil lawsuits. So failure to report can lead to civil lawsuits if the child suffers any further harm that could have been prevented by your timely reporting. Another thing is professional discipline. Failure to report can lead to disciplinary actions such as suspension or termination from your current job. And then legal penalties. Failing to report a case may result in criminal charges, such as a misdemeanor, and in Michigan, it is punishable by up to 93 days in jail and or a $500 fine. Matter. Mandating reporting plays such a key role in protecting children from abuse and neglect. It ensures children grow up in a safe and supportive environment with people that love them and care for them. It maintains a healthy physical, emotional, and psychological well-being for the child. And it's a foundation for a healthy childhood and development for a bright and successful future. Our children are so important. They are the next generation of people who will lead the world. They'll grow up to be teachers, doctors, politicians, or superintendents of our schools, presidents. And in order to fulfill those roles, they need to have a positive, healthy, growing structure. Children crave the attention from their parents, and unfortunately, some children don't get that. It is up to us as leaders and educators to watch for their well-being and to step in when they need us. And here's our reference page. Thank you guys for being here for my presentation. I hope it was very knowledgeable, and I thank you for viewing this. Have a good day.